Mill smear campaign has isolated us from the entire family. Domestic violence, sexual assault. Quick backstory. Mill has been telling the entire family on both sides that I ruined her family, that I am crazy liar and that I have brainwashed my DH. This is what Mill is trying to cover up. Oldest Bill golden child has a bad drinking problem and is also a creep. One night Sil called us to come pick her up because he was wasted. We get there, Bill is in his underwear and wants to party with us. He said I looked really good and he propositions me for a threesome with his wife, then proceeds to grab me onto his lap and saw me. This happens very quickly and he does this in front of both Sil and DH. DH freaks as I do and Bill throws me to the ground. Bill gets violent and angry, starts to smash apart the house. I take out my phone and start recording. He gets angrier. Sil tries to leave with us and he prevents her by physically restraining her from leaving and then starts screaming at us, calling us names. I was called a slut. Sil then changed her mind and won't leave with us and we're told get out right now. So we left. We call Mill, who has their kids for the night, to warn her and for help. She tells us not to call the police, she will send Phil and fix it and call us in morning. Morning comes and the story is flipped. Mill version is we got into their business and Bill was trying to protect Sil, as apparently we showed up and we tried to take her to the bar and she didn't want to go with us. That he drank a bit much and made a mess, but that I overreacted and no saw took place at all. Mill says he didn't rape me, which is her definition of saw. Even with video evidence of his violence, that's the narrative. Mill tells us come over and talk it out. She says Sil took kids to her mom's and Bill is cleaning up mess he made and feels bad. She says I need to delete the video and apologize for making it and accusing Bill of saw and DV, and I better not repeat this story or else. We get into a huge screaming fight with Mill. DH tells her I saw it with my eyes. We were both completely sober. We went to help. This happened. To which she tells DH how terrible I am, how I ruined her family and I'm overreacting and crazy. She brings up deeply personal trauma I shared and throws it in my face, which I am in therapy for, and it goes on and on. She makes comment on how I'm crazy and in therapy for being crazy. DH then lists out all the other drunk things Bill has done and tells her Bill is dead to him and so are they if they keep this up. Now to get ahead of us, she has told the entire family on both sides this narrative. Some reach out and we sent the video to a few of them. To which they say, well, he was upset you were taking his wife. In the video it shows her saying I can't believe you did this, smash house apart, and that she's leaving. This does not matter to them. Sil flipped it. Sil also blocked me when I tried to reach out to her. Now we're getting Mill's sisters calling us complaining we're giving Mill health issues, making her sick. Phil called yelling at DH we're making his mom batty and tells DH leave me or shut me the F up, get me to apologize and we can come back around and delete the video I made. We are completely isolated now from the entire family. We were told we are not allowed to see our nieces and nephews because of this. They all hate me, but if I apologize I can come around again. I have never had so many people hate me in my life, all for trying to help Sil. DH is standing by my side and is done with all of them and blocked every one of them last night. My last post got removed because the mods said it turned into Bill Sil talk. So what I'm asking for advice in is how to cope with the smear campaign and the guilt of being the reason DH lost his entire family. Any advice for a double broken heart? 38F. 38F. 55 meters. Thank you so much for taking time to read my post. I'm a 38-year-old bisexual female going through a difficult situation right now. I work as a dancer. I'm thankful for so many things in my life, but my love life is deeply painful at the moment. I met a girl when I was 22 and we stayed together for 16 years. During the 16 years we broke up many times. Many times for 6 months at a time. I've spent 6 holidays living in hotels, dancing in the strip clubs with the hope that things would get better. 3 years ago we had a threesome with a guy. Then we had a threesome with the same guy again. His son had unfortunately passed away and I experienced an emotional connection with the man, and this really hurt my wife's feelings. It seemed like total gaslight at the moment, but she told me that he assaulted her when I was in the bathroom after the second threesome. She didn't tell me about it until 2 weeks after it happened, but I know that's how it goes sometimes with trauma because I'm a sexual abuse survivor myself. My wife became physically violent towards me and I really didn't know how to cope, so I holed up in the hotel rooms and would drink myself into oblivion and go to work, and somewhere along the line I started dating this guy that we had the threesome with. It has been a roller coaster of a relationship with him too. It feels like neither of them can accept me for who I am, and anytime I let either one of them down they just date someone else and throw it in my face, and then they both want to be mad at me for my job, and my wife wants to be mad at me for dating the guy who she says forcefully kissed her when I was in the bathroom. Later on, during a blackout while I was with this man by myself, I ended up having a bloody ass when we had an agreement to never have anal sex because that's where my childhood trauma was. I ended up going back to my wife that time and pressing charges against him that were later dropped. My wife threw me out violently after about 6 months, and that time I pressed charges against her that I dropped as well. Then I went on a complete bender for 6 months and had to leave work in a stretcher. It gave me a branch blockage in my heart and I had to completely quit drinking and go on medication for my blood pressure. I know that I really let my wife down because I was physically sick and couldn't work and couldn't live up to financial obligations that were fair during the last 6 months that we were together. I had to have surgery on the artery in my hand and I had to go through a bunch of different blood pressure medications before I could find something that actually treated it. I have a family history of cardiovascular issues and my dad is tragically half paralyzed from a stroke, and I just am trying to make the best of my health situation. My feelings are so hurt. During the time that I was with my wife and going through the whole artery surgery situation, this guy that we had the threesome with that I dated kept following me on OnlyFans and sending me letters. During that time my wife was being really mean to me and I took it as a sign that this guy cared about me that he kept contacting me. I would block him and say whatever my wife said and I never talked to him behind her back, but then she threw me out one day and told me she didn't love me when I was finally able to go back to the strip club. I left with one night of money and have been trying to make it as best I can since then. I'm so thankful to be able to dance and try to make the situation better. When my wife threw me out the last time, she told me she bought it gone and she was going to shoot me because I would not press charges against him. She wanted me to press stalking charges against him for cyberstalking me on OnlyFans, but I thought he was just checking on me, and because the situation was so painful with her at the moment, it seemed like it was because he cared. I dropped the charges against him. This made her really mad. She told me she bought a gun and threatened to throw me down the stairs, paralyze me and kick in all my teeth and make it so I could never dance again. I left. A couple mornings ago after work I contacted her because I had filed for divorce and I felt really sad about it, even though it had been so terrifying the last time we had been together. She had also helped me carry my bags into the car in the end and allowed me to borrow $125 that I have repaid her because I only left with one night of money from work. I paid her back and I've tried to make my own way in the past couple months and I'm grateful for this time to try to restart, but it was extremely painful. I've dated the guy that we had the threesome with a couple times since and he has been the same roller coaster as before. Anytime I say something he doesn't like, he says something really mean back in return, or he send me pictures of other women that he dated or was talking to supposedly when we weren't together and called them beautiful and kind. I made the mistake of talking to my ex-wife and in a way we made peace, but I also saw that she moved on and has moved up in life since I've been gone. I don't want to make her miserable. I know I've played a part in things and I am really happy for her. She has a roommate that she signed a 14-month lease with who has a dog, and she knows that I am deathly allergic to dogs. I have systemic mastocytosis and get really sick around dander. She told me that she considers me a friend and is dating other women and has slept with someone else. I told her that I dated the threesome guy and then she started yelling at me and things went really downhill. She told me she wants to stay married for financial reasons. She offered me to be able to stay on her health insurance, which was really thoughtful, but I don't understand how it benefits her. I don't understand these things because it's not part of my life as a dancer. I told her I don't want to be in a relationship or marriage that isn't based on love. I'm not looking for a financial marriage. I left and pathetically sent her messages telling her how much I love her and told her that I really was heartbroken that she had moved on. The guy that I have been dating sent me pictures of these beautiful and kind women that he turns down for me, and I'm just confused because if he turns them down for me, why does he still have their photos and why are they still in contact? I've been stuck in this wheel of bouncing back and forth between the two of them for 3 years now. He lives in a place that is a retirement community because he is 55 and it's another woman's house who supposedly lives in Canada and has a boyfriend. I'm really lost right now in my love life and was wondering if anyone had any advice or insight into these situations. Thank you for taking the time to read my post. I really appreciate your consideration. I can feel my sense of moral values depleting the older I get, and I don't know what to do about it. My F19 on and off again. XM19 had cheated on me with a girl in the past, and I chose to take him back after he reached out to me after 4 months of no contact. I didn't take him back in a heartbeat. I was wary and would throw insults at him to test his willpower. He continued to be adamant on me, and I thought that he was being sincere. OFC, now looking back at it, I should have never taken a cheater back. We were good for 3 months. Also to mention, he was a cocaine abuser and tamperer, and it will be relevant to the story later. Sometime in that 3-month period of us dating, he had gotten arrested at the airport due to weed trafficking in another state. It caused a great deal of chaos in his life and made it hard for him to get a job, and his parents not supporting him. I stuck with him because I was madly in love with him. We eventually broke up after the 4-month period when arguments kept coming up, and every of those arguments felt like a breakup. A day after our breakup, I found out that he had refollowed the girl that he had cheated on me with on TikTok. I was furious as I scrambled to blow up a chain of text threatening him that I'd report him the police, that he would abuse me, he would grab my wrists and arms really hard when I was upset, and would try to pull away from him, leaving me with bruises. And I threatened that I would report him to the police for tampering with cocaine. He would buy bulks of them to clean them and sell them. I had all the proof, and I used it against him just because I was taken over by the fact that he did me dirty once again. Deep down, I was very upset and hurt. I don't think I would have it in me to actually report him to the police. I guess I just wanted to see him be apologetic and never dare to do anything like that again, despite us being broken up. I told him if he didn't come to my house in the next hour to explain what he did, I would report him. He ended up coming over, apologizing, telling me what I was doing was irrational, and unfollowed her. He left and we never talked again. I was doing good, focusing on myself and taking these day by day until today, when I decided to check his socials because I was missing him and had seen that he was following the girl again. I know. We aren't together, so why should it matter what he does? Yet, I messaged him saying stuff like, "Hope you rot in jail." I wonder if anonymous tips to the DIA would be accelerated if we're already a felon. I was extremely mad in that moment, and now that I think about it, I really should have stepped away from my phone and blocked him instead of giving away that energy. He replied to me telling me how much of a horrible person I am, and that him refollowing a person doesn't make it okay for me to go as far as ruining his life even more. He told me that his life was finally coming together again, as he had recently gotten a job after months of being unemployed, and that he has been clean, and what I would do would cause him to kill himself. I told him, "Nice to know that you'll be locked in a jail cell after barely getting back on your feet, lol. It's like something possesses me when I'm angry, and I have no regard for anyone's feelings, and that's what scares me the most." After reflecting back on my impulses, I can't believe I had said that. I guess the reason why I care so much even though we aren't together is because it reverts the months of us rebuilding our relationship. It reverts everything that he has said to me to make me in awe of him. Not only that, but even though he had disrespected me in the past, my ego doesn't like that I had been fooled again. I guess I had helped myself cope by saying that it wasn't as black and white as it seems, as that he deep down cared for me. I also have this competitive nature in me where I wanted the last laugh. I wanted him to remove her and follow me back on Instagram so that she could somehow see it. I know it isn't her fault and it's very immature of me, but I can't help but to feel that way. Me and him had a 2-hour-long discourse through text, and I ended up going back to my senses and profusely apologized for the lengths I went, and he told me he wants nothing to do with me anymore and that I am a distasteful person. I ended up trying to explain myself, but he said he would never forgive me, and I don't blame him. I ultimately was sad because I had tainted my image towards someone I cared about, and that he'll never see me past this image. I don't really want any replies lecturing me about how it was my fault for staying with a person who cheated. I might get negative replies and replies saying how immature I am. I just wanted to get it off my chest on how much of a shitty and manipulative person I've shown that I am today, and I don't really know how to go on from here. Even though he has done me wrong so many times, I still cared for him, and I care a lot about his perception towards me. My whole life I've been so conscious of how I was perceived to others and scared if someone could misunderstand me and see me as a bad person or someone with ill intentions. I know that these actions I did today doesn't define me deep down because I know how I am as a person. I guess I'm just full of words, no action. I wouldn't have never gone through with reporting him. I guess I just wanted to manipulate my words so I could have control of the situation. My friends have been telling me that he deserves it, but I know that me retaliating and trying to hurt him even more doesn't make me less of a fucked up person he was. I've never gotten to that extent with anyone as I did with him. I'm crying as I'm typing this. My younger self would be upset at me. His last message to me was a link to my university's psychiatry program. I don't think therapy is in my favor as I don't have any mental illness, and my university admits students for it based on priority.